This is the finished product. A lot of times, our family, we like it with Spam. So there is the 25% less sodium Spam, and getting fried up in the wok there. Make it nice and crispy, and then we're just going to go ahead and drop it in there. And you can also, if you want, you can have chicken breast. You could have a diced up pork meat, white pork meat. You can do it with, I've even done it with hamburger. Hamburger kimchi fried rice is really delicious. So you can kind of play around and kind of just customize it however you want and kind of add your personal touch. But a classic is kimchi and Spam. It is yummy. Okay, so today we're going to be doing kimchi fried rice. So I got the Korean style Teflon wok, and it's already kind of getting preheated. But I'm going to go ahead and adjust the heat now to maybe be a little less than medium, maybe, just to kind of get it going. Okay, so here's the ingredients that we're going to be using today. So sesame oil, granulated onion that we got back in the days when we were in Vegas from Sam's Club, and we got our Costco Kirkland brand granulated garlic, sesame seeds. This is called Dasita. That's the brand from the Korean grocery store, but Dasita beef powder. I like to use a little bit of that actually for a lot of foods, but definitely for fried rice. And then these are optional, okay? Cayenne pepper. I always try to add even just a pinch into a lot of foods that I make. And for even kimchi fried rice, I'm going to probably put just a little bit, but again, it's optional. And then for this last ingredient, this is Koreans call it miwon. It's accent, totally optional. It's MSG, so you know, I know it's kind of got a little bit of a bad rap. So, but sometimes it is a good food enhancer. But I do use it sparingly. But again, this is totally optional. You don't have to use it. Okay, so Bonnie has taken out the kimchi, and it's important, by the way, you can see that she's got the container with the kimchi juice still over there, and it's important to keep at least some of that because you can use that to kind of jazz up the kimchi fried rice even more, because it might be a little bit dry and not have too much of the kimchi juice. So now we're cutting up the kimchi. We want to put it into small little pieces, more kind of cube style. And that way it'll be easier to mix inside the fried rice. So there's the kimchi getting cut up, ready for the fried rice. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and again the Teflon wok here has been preheated. Actually, you want to go ahead, I just noticed I want to go ahead and put a little bit of more sesame oil. Sesame oil is a really important ingredient, especially with the kimchi fried rice. And actually, you're going to want to use a little more than you would in other rice variations that you're going to fry. So here is the leftover rice. And again, we like to use the half white and half brown. And you know, it was one trip to Hawaii where I was at a restaurant and they had really delicious kimchi fried rice. And I asked them, I said, what's the secret to the magic? She goes, well, I can't really tell you, but the one thing I will tell you is that they use half brown and half white rice. Get the firmness of the brown rice and kind of that tastiness of the white rice too. So anyway, we're going to go ahead because I don't want this wok to get too hot. We're going to go ahead and put this in here. Okay. Of course, you need to get a cooking spoon to kind of mix it up with. So we're going to start by just cooking this. Now, some people, by the way, they like to take the kimchi and actually fry it in advance. So in other words, you would actually start with the sesame oil and actually have the kimchi, then you drop it in there. But what we're going to do today is to kind of keep the kimchi in more of its true state, if you will, so it's got more of the original kimchi texture. We're going to go ahead and add it after we kind of get the fried rice going. So we're going to go ahead and take just a few minutes to mix this up, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so now that Bonnie has cut up all the kimchi, we're going to go ahead and put this in here. And the reason I'm adding this ingredient next before I actually add the spices is that I want to go ahead and have it cook a little bit just to kind of get it a little more cooked up into the fried rice so that it's not too fresh tasting, because this is actually going to be for our kids and they love fried rice. But just to soften up a little bit, we're going to go ahead and try to have it a little more cooked. I do want to go ahead and then take some of this kimchi juice and just add a little bit here. Again, this is a great ingredient just to kind of help give it more of that kimchi flavor. Again, the kimchi itself, the cabbage here, will be kind of softened up as we cook it up. So now we're going to go ahead and just do this for a few minutes. And then we're going to go ahead and finish up. And you can see that it's not that hard. It's a delicious type of fried rice. Very popular in Korea. It's a kimchi-bokkeum-bap, and also popular in Hawaii as well. And it's not that hard to make. So we're going to go ahead and let it just kind of cook a little bit like this on low-medium heat for maybe several minutes, just to kind of get that rice fried up, and as well as the kimchi, and then again finish up with the spices. Okay, so it's been several minutes, and now we're ready. In fact, I'm kind of just taking a closer look at it, and I can see that it might need a little more sesame oil. And I recommend getting either Japanese or Korean type sesame oil, because Chinese sesame oil actually has a little bit of a different flavor. And I think that for that nuttiness that you get from the sesame oil, the Korean or the Japanese is preferred. But we're going to go ahead and put a little more of the sesame oil just to give it a little more of that sesame oil taste, because it's really, really good, especially in kimchi fried rice. So now we're going to go ahead and start to add these ingredients here. So this is the onion powder, and I don't really measure it out, but what I do is I have a rule that typically when I add onion powder, which I think is an important ingredient, I try to kind of cover up the surface here so you can kind of see how it's just kind of covered up on the top of most of the fried rice. I'm going to do the garlic powder now. It doesn't need as much in kimchi fried rice because of the fact that there's already garlic in the kimchi juice. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab the beef powder. And this one here, you don't want to use too much, but I'm using like, maybe a little less than a kind of a teaspoon of it. And it gives it, it's a flavor enhancer with a little bit of beef flavoring. And for me, I like to put, again, this is for the kids, so I don't want to put too much, but in a lot of my foods, I put just a little bit of cayenne pepper. So you can see that it's not much, but just a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and mix it up. And totally optional, something else you can add if you want. You don't have to, because it's just delicious like this. But you could chop up some Spam, and then put that in. You might want to go ahead and maybe after you chop up in cubes the Spam, maybe have it cooked separately so it's kind of crispy, and then you can add it into the kimchi fried rice. Or, like I had mentioned before, if you want to, you could go ahead and actually take the kimchi that's chopped up and the chopped up Spam, put it together in sesame oil and cook it up and have it kind of ready to go in a bowl, and then just drop it into the fried rice after you kind of got started. So again, that's totally optional. You don't have to, but for just regular, delicious kimchi fried rice, this is pretty much all you got to do. Now, you're going to want to test it, and everybody's a little bit different. And for me, I like a little more of the garlic flavoring, so I might actually add a little more garlic powder or onion powder too, because that's, again, a critical ingredient. But again, that's up to each person, so you make it how you want. But those are two ingredients I think that are really, really important. I'll put it here just to kind of highlight that. But is the granulated garlic and the onion powder. Onion powder is an absolute must. So again, this is the kimchi fried rice, and we're going to let it just kind of fry in the pan for a few more minutes, but it is just about ready to go. Okay, so remember how I mentioned the kimchi juice? Here it is, the extra. And you can go ahead and add that in there and just give it a little more of that kimchi flavor if you like. But again, that's totally optional, but we have it here just in case. But for our kids, we're not gonna add any more because they don't like it too spicy. And then of course, to finish up, gotta have the sesame seeds. So I think besides the fact that it just adds a little something extra to the fried rice, it kind of makes it look more authentic to me. So anyway, you gotta have that. But anyway, so this is Bob and Bonnie's kimchi fried rice. Not too hard to make, and it is yummy, and I think our kids will be excited to have this for dinner tonight. So there you go, all set, ready to go. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.